Well, thank you very much, and welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now, education, security, and infrastructure, came up as the biggest beneficiaries in the 2025-2026 budget that was just unveiled this afternoon. And according to CS Mbadi, he talked about how the bottom-up economy is focusing on investing more on, ICT, infrastructure, and the creative economy to make sure that they spur economic recovery and also, create jobs for young people. So I've been looking at the numbers throughout the afternoon, and we have the winners and the losers in terms of who got the most. Of course, TSC comes in as the first, the biggest winners because they get a significant, increase of what they had before. And so education got 658 billion. This is just the general of who got what and which sector got what. And then security, 464 billion. And then moving on, we have, other sectors like the county governments getting 474, that's an increase. And then, of course, infrastructure getting 318 billion. And then moving on still on just who got what, before we talk about the winners and the losers in this particular budget, is healthcare got 474 billion. And then affordable housing, of course, is a focus in this bottom-up economy, got around 120 billion right there. Now, talking about winners and losers, I mentioned earlier that education, security, and infrastructure were the biggest winners in this particular budget. And if you think about it, even though education has gotten just under 700 billion, you find that the Teacher Service Commission, which is TSC, has gotten 387 billion shillings, which is the largest share in this particular budget. So a focus on education, not bad. And then defense, of course, gets much more. And the significant increase here for me in terms of the defense is that this particular one, this 200 billion here, which goes for interior defense, and it got from 159 billion last year to right now 200 billion. If you look at it, it's 2 billion here, around 10 billion there, but around 40 billion right now. So a significant increase in defense, and just looking at better security, in investing in better security and stuff like those. And then another one is still TVET. If you appear here twice, that means education has been invested in more. And if you think about it, this is around 8 billion, going up 8 billion. And then for sports, these numbers is 1.5 billion, from 1.5 billion to 18.5 billion. But this is because, of course, we have a new stadium being built around Kenya because of the tournaments that are coming up. So this is more of an infrastructural investment in sports. So 18 billion is almost 10 times over. And then, of course, losers is in agriculture. Getting 47.6 billion, down from 54.6 billion. And then, of course, Treasury, 61 billion, down from 78 billion Kenyan shillings. And of course, an interesting one here, I don't know if the slide is there, is the also office of the deputy president, which has been slashed from around of the DP from 3.6 billion to 2.9 billion. If you think about it, year on year has always been reduced. That's the office of the DP. One thing that strikes me from that particular graphic that I was creating earlier on is that if you think about it, Kenya is a signatory to the Maputo declaration in Africa, where they encourage African countries to invest at least 10% of the budget towards agriculture. And year on year, we keep on, not on year on year, from last year to this one, we have reduced that amount. So it's quite worrying. Maybe might think about food security, food becoming slightly more expensive, but that is just that. And if you think about it, some of the things or sectors that they have slashed in agriculture is on innovation particularly. And so if you don't innovate, you don't get to be ahead in agriculture and, creating food for yourself. And so that is what stands out in this particular slash. But that's from me.
All right, thanks, Kelly Boss. So, Mon, just crunching the figures.